Hello and welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. Shop the 18 collection right now. Go PHNX.com, the merchandise locker. We're going to talk about that and more today because Brack, Damon, Dawg, I'm Johnny Venerable. It is NFL schedule release day. We are roughly 25 minutes and counting before the official schedule is unveiled. Your boys here at PHNX Cardinals have done our best to piece together what we believe is roughly 90% of what the Arizona Cardinals are going to see this fall, Brack.
That's right. We've been piecing it together. We've been sleuthing around, doing our best to try to get this thing done before it's officially revealed at the top of the hour, about 5 o'clock, 8 Eastern. Look, this day, it's a holiday in the Brack Venerable Dawg households. We celebrate this just as any holiday. Love to see that from our Fishbowl Flash, and they placed the order for the MHJ t-shirt, part of one of the 318 collection. Love to see it to kick off a show. Love to see everybody in the chat. Michael Evans, Cards fan, and NY, RJD. How about Gatorade Man, Dee, Jessica, Rando? The whole squad is here. Even the GM Saul Bookman is hyped about this schedule release. Over 200 people to start the show. Drop a like early on. There it is. I'm so hyped. For the Arizona Cardinals and their 2024 slate, Johnny. I mean, we know the opponents. Now we're going to see where they're going to be slotted in. And I think if the rumors are true as far as week one, it's already kind of a dub to open up the season.
Yeah, they supposedly, based on numerous reports, will travel to Buffalo to face Josh Allen, Sean McDermott, and company. And again, we've got our projected schedule here momentarily. Well, yeah, let's get to it real quick here. Buffalo, week one at the Bills. Again, hearing that, followed by week 2 at the Rams, 3 consecutive home games, Lions, then Commanders. And then we've got a little bit of gray area. We think potentially that game in week 5, Bo, we've talked about it off air. San Francisco on the road makes a lot of sense there.
Yeah, it does. To take on the Niners, and you just kind of correspond what's already been leaked, what's rumored. It looks like the Cardinals hosting the Niners because it looks like they would probably, going on the road because they wouldn't want to play 4 straight games at home. They've got 3 straight rumored right now, week 2 through 4 with the Rams, Lions, and Commanders. But kind of going back on the week 1 thing, this is why I think it's a win though, Johnny. It's just like, and we talked about yesterday when the rumors surfaced, you get to go to Orchard Park. You get to take on a Buffalo Bills team, first off, early September instead of October, November, especially December. I think that's a win. And I think that this was an organization in flux. You got a head coach on the hot seat, and you've got, their receiving core is trash. It's one of the trashiest trash bag receiving cores this NFL has to offer right now.
Well, Josh Allen's going to need to beat the Cardinals by himself. We looked at the roster yesterday for Buffalo. Do anybody remember what happened week 1 last year? The Buffalo Bills got walked off by an aging, limping Aaron Rodgers for about 4 plays, and then Zach Wilson. And then they gave up a punt return. They lost at the New York Jets to open up the season last year, and that's with Stephon Diggs. I think this is a great matchup. I saw a lot of people with the proposed schedule. And again, this is tentative. This is not confirmed. We are doing our best. We're going to talk about all the different facets of the schedule here as the show progresses. But I think the Cardinals are in a good spot. I look at the schedule, and if this ends up being factual, like give me Buffalo early in the season. Give me Aaron Donald less Rams early in the season. Give me the Lions off a long postseason run early in the season. I think the Cardinals, let's take some haymakers early. Let's see how this team goes. For the Cardinals, they're going to be playing a lot of young players. There's going to be a rookie wall. There's going to be a maturation process over the course of October, November, and December. I would rather go through the process of playing good teams early, and then at the end of the year, if they can keep their head above water, it's like, hey, maybe they're 500 at the midpoint with a soft schedule coming up. They deserve that, right? So yeah. I saw a lot of people saying, oh, we're going to start 0-3, 0-4. Listen, the NFL is a fickle sport, especially early in the season. You never know how things are going to be played out. Now, will people predict the Cardinals going 0-3, 0-4? Yeah, that's par for the course. But I mentioned it yesterday. The Cardinals play Buffalo week 1, and we believe that's the case. The Cardinals money line is something I think you really have to seriously consider because Buffalo, in my opinion, is one of the most overrated teams in the NFL.
Yeah, it gives me Tennessee Titans 2021 vibes. There was obviously a successful season the previous year, but at the same, and you know what they feature, but at the same time, I think that there's some vulnerability right now, especially as you mentioned early in the season. That's a team that's going to want to trend in the right direction at the end of the year, and they're going to start to try to work in a lot of new pieces, especially on the offensive side of the football. I see everybody in the chat, and they're exactly right, saying it's going to have to be kind of a Herculean effort with Josh Allen. But also, like, when you start talking about, man, that seems like a gauntlet to open up the season against a ton, as you pointed out on Twitter, Johnny, of playoff teams, potential playoff contenders right out of the gates. But if you want to go to where you want to reach to where you want to go, you got to beat some of these teams. Like,
Right.
I'm not saying you're going to go 0-4. I'm not saying you're going to go 4-0, but you need to beat some of these teams. You need to beat a Rams team. You have to win a division game. They didn't do that last year. So you get your first opportunity, what it looks like in week 2 against Los Angeles. The Bills, a great test right out of the gates. A Detroit Lions team that's never been hotter. And then, an interesting Washington Commanders team. It's going to be the return to the desert for a couple interesting polarizing figures in Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury.
Love that. Give me all the Jaden Daniels, Cliff Kingsbury combos in Arizona so we can promptly take that dub. I do want to point out something. I'm sure you guys have seen this on the social media, the streets, the Twitter streets throughout the course of today. No confirmed nationally televised games yet for the Cardinals. Will the NFL do the Redbirds dirty 2 consecutive years with 0 primetime games? I was texting Bo off air. Has that ever been done before in modern football where a team in consecutive years did not get one singular primetime game? And again, we talked about Jacksonville. I mean, this is Kyler Murray. This is Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, Budda Baker. The Cardinals have stars, right? The Cardinals are going to be better than people think. I think they're going to get 1, maybe potentially 2. We put the over-under yesterday at 2. If this comes out in 20 minutes, 18 minutes from now, and the Cardinals are shut out again, because right now we've got a pretty well source that like 80% of the schedule has been released, and a lot of those primetime games have been slotted. You reported earlier today, no international games. London, Germany are off the table. So again, it's Thursday, Sunday, Monday. I don't think they're going to get any Sunday night games. Like, where is the Thursday and or Monday night game going to come from on the schedule?
Yeah, that's tough to predict. To answer your question, I mean, there used to be kind of with Thursday night, they used that as a primetime game that everybody kind of had access to, right? Yeah, and then they've tweaked it, right? They've since tweaked it.
Yeah.
But Monday used to be like the true primetime game, and there was a drought, I think, for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they ended it, I think, when the Trevor Lawrence era began. But I think they went from like 2011 to like 2021 or 2022 without a Monday night game. But this would be unprecedented. I think that the Cardinals to not receive one, and it would be a little, I think, deaf by the NFL to not realize that, sure, this team's won only 4 games the last 2 years, right? 8 combined, but they've got a team that's trending, and they've got Kyler Murray, they've got star power, everything you want for a primetime team. And I'm seeing teams like the Falcons, the Saints, hate to beat up on the NFC South, but that I know by the middle of the year, that game comes on, people are going to be like, barf. This is the best that the NFL has to offer on Thursday night, Monday night, or Sunday night. Come on, do better.
Well, I mentioned it on yesterday's show, like Michael Bidwell hosts Super Bowls. He's in with Roger Goodell. They have a good relationship. We know that. It's like Michael Bidwell wants a nationally televised game to showcase the culture, the stadium, if it's at home, the renovations that they've done on the stadium. They've got those new kind of luxury suites on the field level. Yeah, the casitas. Like, they want to show that off. It's a marketing tool, right? I think they get 1. I think they get 1 nationally televised game at this point. Like, I thought 2 yesterday, and right now, I mean, we don't. Things could change, and some of the games that we feel like are confirmed for nationally televised for other teams, maybe they could swip or flip flop, but I've been pushing sources all afternoon, and I cannot find a nationally televised game yet. We hope it's coming. But again, let's go back to our schedule if we could, Damon, Dawg. Buffalo week 1, the LA Rams week 2, Lions and Commanders. Then we've got that week 5, maybe kind of, sort of San Francisco. And that's a tough gauntlet. The only team that you feel really good about, and I think the Cardinals will be favored, will be the Commanders in week 4. But again, that's not to say that they can't sneak a win or 2 against some of these other teams. Like the Packers are very cold to start, hot and cold to start the year. If you can come out of those first 6 games let's assume the Niners are, in week 5. You find a way to scratch and claw to 3 wins. Guess what? Then you turn around and you get a lot of Patriots, Panthers, Vikings, Seahawks, Jets, Bears. I mean, the Cardinals are going to be tested. Assuming this sticks, Bo, you keep your head above water for the first third of the season, you're going to be rewarded. Like the Cardinals, you're going to look up, maybe they have a Packer-like ascension from last year where it's like, oh, yeah, we wrote that team off. Not great, not watchable. And then, oh, they're a playoff team. Oh, they're winning a playoff game. I think that's very doable.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, remember the stretch kind of early in the season, not Washington, not New York. We knew that those teams were going to be down, but then you had a stretch at Dallas, San Francisco, Cincinnati. And I think that people would say that not only the Cardinals beat Dallas, but they were competitive in the other games. And I think that there's going to be a difference between, hey, do you want to just see if your team can compete? You're going to see the teams like Cardinals are going to come out with some wins that people weren't going to expect them to go into the game and win and get the dub. But now they've got consistent quarterback play. Kyler Murray went 3-5, should have been 4-4, but sweet baby Matt Prater, he was the hero that we deserved. And missed those kicks. So now that Kyler Murray gets to throw to Marvin Harrison Jr. And the Arizona Cardinals, I think that they were savvy, Monti Ossenfort, in the offseason and how they spent their money and rebuilding that defensive line. The addition of 27th overall and Darius Robinson. Defensive front is being revamped, and it should give them a shot to get the ball into that top 10 offense since Kyler returned and put up some points. And it starts week 1. Like you named off some defensive secondary members for Buffalo I'd never heard of. And you got Marvin Harrison Jr. You should have a healthy Michael Wilson. You should Greg Dortch in the slot and Trey McBride coming off a career year and on upward trajectory. This is going to be fun.
People are a little, I think, disheveled with the first part of the schedule. And I get that. Somebody Darren saying Florio made the Cardinals schedule, right? Like who made this? People have it out for the Cardinals. Here's the thing at the end of the day, guys, when you play in the NFC West, you got to play really good teams. You got to play San Francisco and the LA Rams at some point during the season. And again, like Rams have been known to start slow. Niners have been known to start slow. Like Buffalo, again, every year they screw around. They dick around in September and October. They play their best football at the end of would you rather go to Lambeau and Buffalo in September, October, or November, December, January? Like I don't care how good or not good those teams are. Give me the non-inclement weather games. Give me the time of the year where the Buffalo Bills have some of the most tumultuous turnover this offseason when you're talking about Keon Coleman, Valdez-Scantling as their top 2 or 3 receivers. No more Stephon Diggs. A defense that got destroyed in the postseason by Patrick Mahomes, and they're running it back with 100-year-old Von Miller. Like I trust John and Gannon and Drew Petzing and Nick Rallis, especially defensively, to put a game plan together for Josh Allen over the course of the offseason. You're going to look up and say, hey, we did our job. Like the Cardinals played well defensively enough last year. I know it was against Sam Howell to beat Washington week 1, but they didn't have their quarterback. Well, they have their quarterback now. So I like the Cardinals' chances. I would be surprised when the odds come out with our friends at BetMGM or whomever that the Cardinals were not a competitive dog. I think like minus 5.5 for Buffalo. I expect the line to be about minus 5.5. I don't think it's going to be a touchdown. I think people will understand the Cardinals are going to come in there playing with house money. If you're Buffalo, to your point, Sean McDermott, you have all the pressure on you in this game. The Cardinals have no pressure, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, it heats up even more. I mean, if the people in Buffalo, sure, they're going to pay attention to this Cardinals team because it's the first game on the slate potentially. But they all they see really is 4 wins from the previous season, and you've got a coach who's facing a ton of pressure. They fall short. Like there's going to be the next day, Monday morning, Josh Allen, Sean McDermott, they're going to be under fire. It's not, unfortunately, the story is not going to be like, oh man, did you see what Kyler Murray and Jonathan Gannon led Cardinals did up in Orchard Park? Unfortunately, it's going to be how did the Bills fall on their face to open up the season? So you got that's fun to look forward to kind of, not only are you not going to probably play spoiler that role any longer under the Gannon coaching staff, but also one thing you mentioned, like, sure, they might be dogs in week 1. Unlike last year, the schedule is not going to be the Cardinals underdogs in every single game. Remember that? They weren't favored in a single contest last year.
I remember. So, and they won 4 games.
That's right. And they beat teams that they were significant dogs in each and every one of them, from the Dallas game to the Pittsburgh game. Falcons weren't huge dogs. And then, the one against Philly, weren't they close to double-digit dogs against the Eagles?
They were. We got 10 minutes till the official schedule release. Again, we're piecing it together as we go. We're working the phones. Let's work some super chats. Cardi D, our guy, $2, top of the show every single day. My super chat yesterday didn't go through. LFG, better late than never. My guy, of course, Cardi, repping the Rise Up Red Sea t-shirt that's available right now at the merchandise locker. And I might as well use this opportunity. We got over 540 watching right now. Let's take a look as we got some time before the schedule drops. How about the drop we made yesterday, Bo Brock?
Oh, man.
The number 18 drop. Let's see it, Damon. The 18 collection equipped with what I believe is the best singular shirt that we have ever done, the MHJ front and center, but not to be outdone, the Maserati Marv tee, and a little bit of math on the right-hand side, Bo Brock.
Yeah. The 18 collection is the most elite collection of shirts that we've put out at any given time. PHNX, Sports, or ALLCITY. I mean, this is unbelievable with the celebration, the MHJ shirt, the Maserati Marv, the 1 + 18 = 6. Can't get better than any of these three shirts, plus the one we dropped on draft night, the Phoenix Cardinals Rising. We are just stocked full of shirts that you need to go out and purchase. It's essential gear for when you're watching your Cards play in 2024. You don't want to miss it. 550 people in the chat. You see that those beautiful T-shirts. Drop a like for those.
Love it. Again, become a diehard. You pick up one for free. I was loving the peeps that were recent diehards that had housed their very special promo code that allows for a free piece of merch, and they were getting after it with the 18 collection. Do that. Plus, I believe if you're a diehard, you get a percentage off of all future merch. I know our diehard friend of the program, Jessica, was taking advantage yesterday. So love to see that. Picking spreads, Donnie, $2 super chat. How about this? My buddy is a Los Angeles Charger leaker. He said Arizona versus the LA Chargers week 5 Sunday night football. That would be shocking. It would be awesome. I would love to see it. Mm-hmm. But again, we don't have anything confirmed. The Chargers and the Cardinals both have openings right now per what's been pieced together. And we assume maybe it was San Francisco, but I'd take that right now.
You know what? That makes a lot of sense. Just kind of cross-referencing the options, right? The Cardinals, one of the things is they've got the division game early on against the Rams. Week 5, that would be great. That would be a good matchup of second-year coach and Jonathan Gannon going up against the guy who's found himself back in the NFL and Jim Harbaugh, and we'll have a good sense of what they're going to look like. We have a good idea of what it's going to be, right? The new look Chargers under Harbaugh and with Herbert, they're probably going to be in a pretty decent spot by then. So that should be an elite showdown between two, pretty young quarterback teams that are going to be in the spotlight for the next couple of years to come.
Yeah, speaking of elite, how about this elite super chat? Our guy Mike Sabo, $4.99, just bought my Maserati Marv shirt. Love it, Mike. Tweet us when you get this shirt. We'll retweet it on the Twitter streets. Fired up for you. Fired up for everybody who's picking up the merch, and we'll be repping it with pride here in the Valley come the start of the football season. You may not be able to get a number 18 jersey right now, but you can get the 18 collection at GoPHNX.com. Again, we are just 5 minutes away from the NFL schedule release. We've got our graphics, breaking news ready to go as we piece it together. Let's go back to that proposed schedule right now that we're working off of. If we can see that, Damon Dawg. How about this, fancy boy? All right, so again, 2024 schedule, we're working on it. I draw everybody's attention, assuming it sticks to the middle and back half of the season. I mean, I see a lot of Seahawks. The Cardinals should be able to handle Chicago with a rookie QB. You're going to get 3 consecutive rookie quarterbacks, 13, 14, 15, Bo. J.J. McCarthy, Caleb Williams, and then, of course, Drake May. And then you get that bust of a situation in Carolina in week 16. Like, there's a lot of meat on the bone there. Assuming what if the Cardinals are like a game or two around 500 by the time they hit that week 12, 13 stretch? And you feel really good about their prospects to make the postseason.
I think you really do. And we'll see who pops up if maybe it's a bye week in 11. But it would really prime you for a really solid stretch here. And we'll see what, Chicago looks like with Caleb at the helm and all those playmakers that they added. But man, is that I completely agree with you. 15, 16, maybe 18. Who knows where the Niners will be as far as their season? Will they have something already kind of locked in for the postseason? Could you get a couple wins there together? Like if you're hovering around 500, you're in a good spot as the Arizona Cardinals going into week 12.
Again, like I see a lot of pushback saying, "Oh, they got to end the season with the Niners and the Rams. They got to open the season with them in the first couple of weeks." Like, yeah, that's the NFC West. And to Bo's point, like they went 0-6 last year in the NFC West. We're very competitive outside the division. You're not making the playoffs unless you're being competitive in your own division. Doesn't mean you have to win it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we feel like the Niners and the Rams, if you talk to a lot of people, are like the co-favorites in the NFC. Well, what's the bare minimum that means that you can do this year? You have to sweep the Seattle Seahawks. You have to put Seattle in the ground with new head coach Mike Macdonald. And again, I like what he did in Baltimore, but it's not Pete Carroll. It's still Geno Smith. I thought their draft was pretty mid on the surface level. I think Seattle, to me, is the team that you have to say from the start, we are better than Seattle. We have a better quarterback. We have a better head coach. Can we steal a game or two from the other teams in the division? And if the answer is yes, I agree with what I'm seeing in the chat. They are making the playoffs. If they can play 500 ball in the NFC West and go 3-3, it's a playoff team. But if you're dicking around with 1 win or 2 wins in the NFC West and you get to the end of the year and you miss the postseason by a game or two, which has happened before, it's you are a byproduct of who you play. And it's why everybody right now, it's like, we think the NFC South is gross, but they get to play each other. Carolina and Tampa and New Orleans. Like, Mina Kimes was on this program last Friday. Mina Kimes said that the Cardinals, they got a good head coach. They got an all-star tight end. She's high on Kyler Murray, but you got to be able to compete against Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan. And that's easier said than done. You got to have good personnel.
And if you look at the schedule and you see all the teams that you would just assume are favored over the Cardinals and they don't win any of those games, what's the narrative become?
Right.
What's the narrative become about Jonathan Gannon and about Kyler Murray? They can't beat the good teams. You got to beat the good teams. You want to be a good team? You got to beat some of them. I mean, I know you can look at them and say, hey, this is a competitive as hell schedule. That's some steep competition, but man, they've got an opportunity. They've got to come away with close to half of those games and then win the games that they're supposed to win. And that's got to become the type of football that they're going to play as you start to look at this schedule. Now, 7th easiest schedule in the NFL. And I know people will kind of push back on that and say that's based off 2023. And I agree, because people who are looking at a 4-win Cardinals team on their schedule, they're licking their chops. But if you're smart and you're a knower of ball, like Damon, Dawg, and Johnny Venerable, and all the people in the chat, you realize that, hey, it's probably going to be more so based off of, Vegas win totals and which teams people are thinking are going to be good in 2024 as opposed to 2023. And then the Arizona Cardinals schedule kind of evens out, but it still doesn't get towards the upper echelon. It's not in the top tier of like the hardest schedule where it was at the end of last year and they were a 500 football team. So you got to have some confidence. Like, I know, like this, you're a Cardinals fan. Like, we're Cardinals fans. Like, we know who hurt you. This organization a lot of times over and over and over again, but it's a new day and they should be able to compete with these really good teams in the NFL, given, who's calling the shots in the sidelines and in an improved roster over the last couple months since the end of last season.
Just floating it out there, people are speculating that potentially the bye for the Arizona Cardinals could be right around week 11. I don't have that confirmed, but be a great time to have a bye, right? Kind of in the smack dab, almost in the middle of the NFL season. Again, so we're going to find out in just a minute or so the official schedule. But before we do that, let's get back to these super chats. Friend of the program, Illadre, $10, dropping it in the chat. Thank you so much, Illadre. I don't care who we face. This Nick Rallis, Jonathan Gannon defense is going to make some noises. The league will find out. Put on your Shady Rays and buckle up. Absolutely. Like, Illadre, they're probably the most disrespected team in the NFL. It's not just because we cover them daily, but when you see the Cardinals having the worst defense according to PFF, when you see Kyler Murray being placed in the 20s with the likes of Baker Mayfield or behind Baker Mayfield, when you see this team consistently being projected to win 6.5 games after winning 4 without Kyler Murray last year for most of the season, like, as Mina said on our program last Friday, we've clipped it. Like, not a lot of people watch this team, and that's fine. They probably would prefer it until they start winning. And I think it's going to start this year. Like, they know they have to win games. They want to be able to meet the energy, the passion of the fan base, which has returned in droves. Season ticket sales, a record for the first time since 2009. And we broke it down yesterday. Illadre, a lot of that is the Marv effect. But now what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that good mojo? You can't come out of the chute 0-3, 0-4. As much as we want to tout our number 18 jerseys by then, doesn't carry much weight. You got to be able to put it together.
Absolutely. It is officially, the clock is at 5 p.m. here in the Valley. That means the schedule is going to drop at any moment, Johnny. I'm feverishly refreshing my email inbox, looking for the Cardinals to drop at ESPN's Cardinals page with their schedule, the Cardinals team site, SeatGeek. Whoever's going to give it to us first, I need it right now. Still last tweet from the Cardinals asking if anyone has plans at 5. We've had plans. It started at 4:30. Started looking at some of the potential leaks on this Cardinal schedule. I'm sure they're on the NFL Network right now doing a live breakdown of some of the schedules. We will have it to you as soon as humanly possible when we get the official word on the Cardinals 2020-24 slate.
Let's see if I can I think I have the schedule, the bulk schedule here. And it's in a long document from CBS Sports. It is confirmed Arizona at Buffalo week 1. Lock it in. How about this? Week 9, Chicago at Arizona. That is locked in.
There it is. Yes. The Saints or the Cardinals have just tweeted it out.
Okay. So I don't need to go through this long PDF then.
Awesome. No, you don't.
Thank you for sparing me that.
Week 1, Bills, 10 a.m. kickoff here in the desert. It will be at Orchard Park. Josh Allen, Kyler Murray. Week 2, LA Rams at home. Then you've got 3 in a row as we saw from the leaks. Lions week 3, Commanders week 4. Cliff and Jaden Daniels come back to the desert. We have the Niners week 5 as we predicted. That's on the road. Packers on the road in week 6. Chargers in week 7. That game looks like it might be a primetime game. Let's see, it's a pretty small logo. Can't make it out. That looks like it is Monday night at 2:30. Is that a double header?
Oh, where's that? What are you looking at?
I'm sorry. That's a.
I'm looking at the schedule right now. I don't see any primetime games.
October 21st.
What am I looking at here?
October 21st. It's week 7 against the Chargers. So our guy Donnie was half right, but it's week 7, that week 5, and it's against the Los Angeles Chargers. Then week 8,
you're right. They have one Monday night. They have one. Yeah, it's Sunday Night Football. It's right.
No, it's Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football.
Week 8, Dolphins in South Beach. Bears in week 9 at home. You got the Jets. That game is week 10. You've got the bye week, week 11. Seahawks week 12 on the road, back-to-back road games. You go to Minneapolis, you take on the Vikings in week 13. Week 14, Seahawks at home, back-to-back home games. You take on the Patriots on the back end of that. That's December 15th. And then you have the Panthers on the road week 16. You have the Rams on the road in week 17. And then you wrap up at home against the San Francisco 49ers. The date of that game is TBD. Probably could be a Sunday game, could be a Saturday game.
So after being shut out a year ago, the Arizona Cardinals net just a single primetime game, week 7 at home against the LA Chargers. So they were not shut out, but we did not hit our over. We said over 1.5. We did feel pretty good about the fact that they were going to get a Monday night game, no Thursday night game. And then, of course, no Sunday night game. NBC hates the Arizona Cardinals for whatever reason. They refuse to put them on. So the Arizona Cardinals, they get the one nationally televised game, and we have our schedule for 2024. And so while we get our graphics, everything's situated here, let me tell you about our friends at Game Time. If you're thinking about right now, I want to be able to score some tickets this fall for what could be a great year for the Arizona Cardinals. Look no further than our friends at Game Time. If you didn't buy season tickets, we'll hook you up. Best place to purchase tickets right now using the bonus code PHNX for $20 off. And listen, if you want to just dip your toe in ahead of football season, now's the perfect time. D-backs, comedy shows, events here in the Valley or wherever you're at, check them out for Game Time. Browse through the app. I mean, hell, if you're in a position, NBA playoffs going on right now without our precious Suns, but depending on where you live, check them out. Check out the last-minute ticket deals, flash deals, zone deals. I love it. I check Game Time sometimes. It's just like, hey, a quarter, halfway through a game, I'm going to be able to save up to 60% last minute on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. I was just at a comedy show last weekend. I got it off Game Time. I couldn't believe how cheap my tickets were. And again, we're going to hook you up right now. $20 off your first purchase with the bonus code PHNX. Hell, that may cover your entirety of your first purchase. Again, terms and conditions apply. Create an account, redeem it. PHNX is your bonus code. Of course, what else would it be? For $20 off, that may cover everything. You can do tickets, you can do parking passes, whatever, but dabble with our friends at Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Tough to beat that. Maybe circle in that October 21st game against the Chargers, State Farm Stadium. Game Time is going to get you into the stadium with a great deal. We can already guarantee it. Maybe use that and holster that PHNX code for that game. Could be a good little maneuver, like utilizing your free shirt here, becoming a diehard. Also got to tell you about Shady Rays. You're going to be out there tailgating as well on the Great Lawn. It's going to be bright, right? You're going to have a kickoff around 5 o'clock, and you know you're going to want to be tailgating, putting back some cold ones, some delicious food. You're going to want to also look cool wearing your Shady Rays. Rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. These durable frames, crystal clear optics, making them a perfect choice for all your outdoor adventures and activities like tailgating for your Redbirds. Get in right now and use the promo code PHNX for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself those shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. It's unbelievable. I've got multiple pairs. Family has multiple pairs of Shady Rays. We're a Shady Rays family. You need to become one as well. Use that 35% off with the promo code PHNX at ShadyRays.com.
Again, if you're just joining us, the Arizona Cardinals schedule release is official. One primetime game, Monday Night Football, Week 7 against the Chargers, and it is confirmed. And who's the lowly Twitter handle that had it 2 days ago? Something to the effect of thigh high 2 days ago, Buffalo, Week 1. Man. Who was that? We got to give that person credit.
What was his name? The thigh doctor or something like thigh doctor.
Yeah, thigh doctor. Had Buffalo hosting Arizona Week 1. So the Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray, somebody tweeted it out to me today. I can't remember who it was. Apologies. Kyler Murray 3-0 against Josh Allen in his career. I don't even remember the Bills playing the Cardinals 3 times, but I know they beat them the last time they played because that was the infamous Hail Murray at State Farm Stadium. See if we can't circle back some of those vibes with MHJ. But again, we are working on having a finalized version of the schedule now. But before we do that, let's grab some of these super chats here. How about DarkCon 1 Gaming, $5. Make a Held the Line at number 18 t-shirt. I know DarkCon, we had talked about it yesterday, taking your ideas on top of our 18 collection. What kind of shirts you guys would love to see at the merchandise locker?
Absolutely. That's a great idea. Held the Line 18. That it would go right in line with the rest of the gear that we've got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love super chats.
We want to hear your voice, but it's great. I mean, I'm humbled. We're humbled by how much people really enjoyed the 18 collection drop yesterday. Mm-hmm. And again, it's stuff that we buy. It's stuff that we rock, personalized, professionally. So I'm honored to be able to rock it with the rest of you. Again, working on getting this graphic in here. Let's just get some of the instant reactions to what's going down with this schedule, Brock. Yeah. Jared Reese, tongue-in-cheek, 17-0. Love that. Would love to see that. Jeremy confirming what we had speculated moments ago, bye week 11. What do you think about that, Brock? Right around the midpoint of the NFL season.
It's another kind of later one. Like they got as late as they possibly could last season, so you knew that the NFL wasn't going to do the Cardinals dirty again. But I think that's right where you want to like to be able to get some really dial in the process, and that's what JG is all about, getting that locked in and to get it through the first 10 weeks of the season, and then be able to kind of get a couple of days off. And then gear up for that stretch, as you mentioned. Like when we show you the schedule, you realize that it becomes very there's a lot of beatable teams at this point coming off the 2023 season and what we've seen from the offseason for some of these teams. You got to be pretty excited about the Cardinals. Can they be fresh as possible? And to go up against some organizations like with Seattle at week 12. After your bye week, No, sorry.
Yeah,
Seattle week
that's right.
12.
At Seattle.
You got the Vikings, then you go Seattle again, and then you got the Patriots, should be a dub, and then you have the Panthers, should be a dub, and then you face against, if everything goes right, you got Rams, Niners. Are those going to be games for something big as far as the Cardinals are concerned?
They have 10 games before their bye, weeks 1 through 10. Can you get to 500 before the stretch of Seattle, New England, Carolina? That's the season, in my opinion. We will know a lot about this team by the time they hit the bye week. Are they for real, legitimate, or are they back in a top 10 contention for a high draft pick? If you can somehow get through the gauntlet of Buffalo, Rams, Detroit, Washington, Niners, Packers, Chargers, Dolphins, Bears, Jets. If you can somehow get through that stretch 5-5, you got to feel really good, especially with how this team finished. This isn't Cliff Kingsbury's Cardinals, thank God, where you could be 6-4 and 6-3 coming off the Hail Mary against Buffalo and then tanking it the rest of the year and finishing 8-8. We know that's not how Jonathan Gannon and company operate.
Right.
You get to 500 by the bye week, you got a really good shot to go at minimum 9-8. But if you're sitting at, 3-7, it's going to be tough. It puts a lot of pressure on JG. So I think, they know they got to win games. They're not signing Zay Jones to not try to make the postseason. So we're going to do our official schedule prediction show tomorrow. We're going to go game by game, but just surface level, Bo.
Mm-hmm.
I think this sets up really nicely for the Cardinals. I think you get a lot of your biggest tests early where some of these teams may be in flux. They may be trying to implement young players. Here's the one thing the Cardinals have that a lot of teams don't. They return their entire coaching staff. Drew Petzing, their special team coordinator, Nick Rallis, their quarterback gets an entire offseason. Outside of some changes defensively, and of course the addition of Marvin and Jonah Williams, I mean, the personnel, especially on offense, Bo, is largely the same. Your offense is going to be asked to carry you early in the season. And I think with some of the defenses they face, I think they can do that.
No doubt about it. Like, especially up front, for the defense to maybe play a little catch up, but also have your defensive minded head coach be, part of the architecture of that, along with Nick Rallis. But the offense, it should be the personnel group that's going to be able to hit the ground running once the season opens, with Drew Petzing having everybody in place and kind of handpicked, right? Like, you've revamped the wide receiver room. It fits. They've got the type, right? This over 6 foot guys outside of Greg Dortch. They feel like they're in a really good spot, special teams wise. It's going to come down to, the defense. Can they improve off of being, the giving up the second most points in the NFL? Can they get off, the amount of times that's necessary if you can be that offense you believe you can be, to complement and play that complementary football that we just didn't really see at all last season.
So the league still did the Arizona Cardinals a little bit dirty. And Peter Schrager must have known something. Of course he did ahead of time. Somebody had to point this out to me. I'm just realizing this. The week that the Cardinals, I think this is a thing now. So there's a Monday night game the week that the Cardinals play. And then there's a ESPN Monday night ESPN Plus game. Are you familiar with this? So the Arizona Cardinals, Bo, do not have technically week 7, the primary Monday night game. That is Baltimore hosting Tampa, Tampa hosting Baltimore. Then there's the Chargers at the Cardinals for ESPN Plus, and there's a little $ next to it. So it's not even the national TV game. It is the ESPN Plus game. That is not something that's every single week. But again, what did Peter Schrager say 3 weeks ago? He said the Cardinals and Carolina will have the least amount of primetime games. And then you look at Carolina's schedule, that lone trip to Germany is the only time they're on national TV, which is warranted. They were unwatchable last year. Come on, you got Kyler Murray, you got Marvin Harrison Jr. I know, like, most fans don't care. They want to lay low. That's a dirty, dirty tactic by the NFL.
What was the matchup? What's the main matchup again?
Baltimore at Tampa over the Cardinals and the Chargers. Come on.
People are going to be tuned into the Cardinals Chargers more than the Ravens.
Do you think so?
I almost guarantee it by that point in the season.
ESPN Plus, like, what's the difference? Is that on
Baker versus Lamar Jackson? Yeah, ESPN Plus, you just fire it up on the ESPN.
So, like,
app.
if you have basic regular cable, you can't watch the Cardinals unless you have ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Well, I mean,
extra dirty.
everybody's streaming anyway. I mean, everybody should be
Yeah,
streaming.
but I'm thinking like, the boomers out there, the older peeps that are just like, I want to watch the Cardinals. I live in, North Carolina. I live in Florida. I want to watch the team. Not to boomer shame, but
Let's get into the schedule. We've got it ready.
we
Damon
got it ready. Okay.
Yep, he's got it all ready for prime time, just like the Cardinals on ESPN Plus. Don't miss it.
That's so dirty, but I can't believe that.
2024 schedule. Bills week 1. Then you come home for your home opener against the Rams, September 15th. Then next week, this is the second of 3 game stretch at State Farm Stadium against the Detroit Lions, September 22nd. Commanders on September 29th. Cliff and Jaden Daniels return. And you hit on the road for back-to-back games at Santa Clara against the Niners on October 6th. You take on the Packers in Lambeau Field week 7 on October 13th. And that ESPN Plus game, Monday Night Football, hosting the Chargers. Hit the road to South Beach the next week, October 27th, against Tua and the Dolphins. Come home for back-to-back games against the Bears. And you've got the New York Jets coming to town in week 10. Your bye week in week 11. Then this stretch we've talked about a couple times already. Take on the Seahawks on the road. Then you take on the Vikings on the road. Come home for a pair of games. Seahawks, Patriots, December 15th. Then you've got Panthers on the road on December 22nd. And you got a couple TBD games here in week 17 and 18. I'm sure they're going to decide between Saturday and Sunday games between on the road at the Rams and the season finale against the Niners in week 18. Get tickets to all these beautiful games with our friends over at Game Time. Use that code PHNX.
I mean, even 4-6 through your first 10, you're in pretty good shape still. If you're a competitive 4-6, I think you can go into the bye thinking Seattle twice, Minnesota rookie QB. I mean, you get a gauntlet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get 5 straight games where maybe you're not the favorite, but you're damn near close to the favorite in all those games. And it allows you to really make up some ground if you're not already over 500.
This is a stretch where I look at it as you got to keep your head above water. After Washington, week 5, 6, 7, 8, potentially 9 with the Bears. We'll see how good they are with the rookie quarterback. And I got an inkling they're going to be pretty competitive, if not a playoff team. But you go Niners, Green Bay, they played each other in the divisional round last year. And then you got a lot of confidence in Harbaugh to turn the Chargers around. You know that Justin Herbert is kind of a sleeping giant at the quarterback position. You got a playoff team in the Dolphins potentially. That stretch right there, those 5 games, that's going to be pretty key for the Cardinals, as you said, kind of going into that bye week. And we'll see what the Jets are about if they can stay healthy. But they got a really old quarterback that lasted a play or two last season, and they picked up guys who were oft injured. So I'm not really kind of entering them in the equation just yet. But that's a huge stretch for the Cardinals from week 5 to week 9.
Well, and it's also you're face your toughest defensive tests early in the season when this defense is still probably going to be figuring some stuff out. Like I think you're going to be putting a lot of pressure on the veterans that you have. You're going to need Jalen and Buda, Zaven Collins, BJ Ojulari. Darius Robinson's going to have an expedited development. Like you're facing, Stafford, Puka Nacua, Josh Allen, the Lions offense, the Niners offense, the Packers. You'd mentioned Herbert, Tua, and everybody in Miami, right? Like that's asking a lot for Jonathan Gannon's defense. And like they may not have their bearings about them until 10, 11, 12, and then be playing their best defensive football. That might be too late at that point. Like the offense for the Arizona Cardinals is going to have to carry this team until Halloween. That is my hot take looking at this schedule. The first 8 or 9 games, Kyler Murray is going to need to come out guns a-blazing, double bird. You're going to need to be able to control the football, keep the opposing offenses on the sideline, because if you start slow offensively, Cardinals got no shot. They do not have it. Because last year, what did we see? The offense started slow and the defense was semi-competitive. Well, who'd they play? Washington, the Giants, but then the wheels fell off. You cannot go into this first 8 to 9 game stretch with the quarterbacks that you're going to see. Emphasis on the quarterbacks now. It's not just the offense. And think to yourself, we're going to be able to hold these teams under 20 points. It's just not realistic in today's NFL. This is where Kyler Murray, like, we're going to know a lot about Kyler Murray and his price tag and his place in the Valley. And I still think he's going to own the Valley here at the end of the season. But you need him to be able to separate himself, because how many, real quick, let's see that graphic one more time, Damon. How many QB advantages do you have before the bye? Not week 1. A lot of people would say not week 2. A lot of people would say not week 3 right now, although I would think that's a coin flip. You got a QB advantage in week 4, 5, I think 6. People would say Herbert's better. I think 8 maybe. I mean, he's got more weapons than you. I mean, you're not going to have the best quarterback, according to a lot of people, 4 out of the first, 8 games or whatever it is, 5 out of the first 8 games. Whereas look at the back half of the schedule. You got a better quarterback in week 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You got the quarterback advantage for 5 straight games. That's a big deal. That's what dictates Vegas lines. So Kyler Murray is going to need to play quickly as a top 10 quarterback for this team to have a shot the first half of the season.
Yeah, we've got our first spread for the Arizona Cardinals. Their opening week against the Buffalo Bills.
Do I want to know this?
Well, you guessed it, right? Or not? You didn't guess it correctly, but okay. You had said 5-point dogs, right?
5 to 5.5. How bad is it?
It's 7.
Gotcha. Which could move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it certainly could. I mean, once you start,
how do you feel about that?
It's pretty. It's high. That
is really high.
I'm immediately taking Cardinals plus 7.
Do you think a lot of people will?
No, I mean, I think people, the last kind of glance they got at the Bills, they were a team that, they thought were competing with the Chiefs. They don't view the Cardinals in the same, I guess, weight class as the Bills.
Well, clearly.
Right. And
people just assume, McDermott, Allen better than Murray, Gannon. Let's make it a big loaded number.
Yeah. Also, when you look at the start of the season, outside of the Bills, because we know that, and they got a little bit better last year running the football with James Cook, but they would lean on Josh Allen and his throwing him throwing the rock around, and also making plays with his own legs. But then you go, week 2 against the Los Angeles Rams, and then in week 3 against the Detroit Lions, you get a little bit of a reprieve with the Commanders, because we know Cliff Kingsbury isn't going to run the football as much as those other teams.
Yeah.
And then week 5 against the Niners, you've got 3 teams there, 3 out of 4 teams that like to really ground and pound. And you're going to find out real quickly what your rebuilt defensive front 7 looks like against those teams. Like, I mean, that's right out of the gates. Like, they're not going to get any grace period outside of, I don't think Josh Allen makes any defense relax, but like, as far as what we saw from the Rams and what Sean McVay's game plan offensively was against JG and the Cardinals, and what it's mostly always been, it's just pound the rock with Kyren Williams, and they devastated the Cardinals. And it was because of lack of talent on the defensive side of the football up front for the Cardinals. Were they able to add enough to where they can compete and hang tight with those Rams who added to the interior of their offensive line this offseason? They added to it, so they're even stronger as far as their run game coming in. They added Blake Corum to back up Kyren Williams. Like, they're geared up to run the football. It's like you got a team from AZ and you got a team from Los Angeles, and they don't fit kind of necessarily the city. Like, they are going to be some physical football teams. That's going to be exciting, but the defensive front 7 is going to have to show up.
Picking spreads, Donnie, $2 super chat. Welp said primetime versus LA Chargers, got the week wrong, though. Hey, we appreciate it. First person put that on our radar. You get credit on this podcast for your prediction, Donnie. Appreciate you, my friend. Jeff Underhill, $1.99. We can steal a W at Buffalo. Absolutely. Like, can't you just see Josh Allen throwing a couple picks that game? I mean, it's going to be tough. You're going to have to be all over him. The defense is going to have to play out of their mind. You're going to need Kazir White to be back 100% and this defense to look as good as it did, at the peak last year. You need a second half performance like you had against CJ Stroud last year, because I think Kyler Murray is going to have a good game. I think you can do what you want to do against Buffalo's defense, but it's not going to be easy. But I don't think any of us are going to sit here and say they have no shot. They have a shot in every game this year. And that's the best part about this team in 2024. There were games that you and I would preview throughout the week. We'd have our guy Brian Baldinger on. We talked to Britton Golden. We talked to everybody, opposing fans, opposing media. There were games that the Cardinals had no chance to win. And this year, it's the complete opposite. As long as Kyler Murray is healthy, they will be competitive in every game. They will have an opportunity to win every game. And that's why he's a $50 million quarterback. Now, can they seal the deal? Can they put together 4 complete quarters? I mean, we're going to find out. And we love JG. A lot about JG that we didn't find out last year, frankly, because the roster wasn't up to snuff. But, man, I like what I saw at Philadelphia, at Pittsburgh, the competitiveness against Seattle to end the season. Like, I'm fired up, man. There will be games this year the Cardinals win that they're not supposed to on that schedule right now that everybody is saying is a loss already.
Yeah. Look, it's essential as far as getting to where you want to go. Let's keep it going with these super chats. How about our guy Charlie Sinclair, our token Chargers fan, jumping in week 7, Lambeau Lad McConkey versus Maserati Marv. Charlie joined us when we were doing our pre-draft discussion, and he was just hoping that the Arizona Cardinals would make the wrong move and pass on Marv in a trade down opportunity. So MHJ would fall into the Chargers' lap. He did not. They ended up taking Joe Alt instead. This is an Alt versus was Maserati Marv. It's not sexy to you to have a big time new right tackle. How about
that'll be good with Harbaugh.
Yeah,
he'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be okay. What do you got? How about Turtle Trolls jumping in, Johnny? $4.99.
Yeah, we get 1 prime time with all the hype. Meanwhile, the Sea Chickens get 4 total. Yeah, that's gross. They're grandfathered in, I guess. The Cardinals, they haven't had a run of success like Seattle. Like, say what you want about Seattle, they still won like 9 games last year.
Yeah,
but Pete Carroll's gone. Daddy Carroll's gone. Let's see you do what you did before Pete Carroll. I mean, there were some thin years in Seattle. So, this is a transition year for the Cardinals. Again, doesn't mean they can't make the postseason. Go look at Detroit and how many primetime games they got coming off that first year with Dan Campbell before going 9-8. They got flexed into Sunday.
Think about that 9-8 season. They started like 1-7 that year. They had a tough start. They had a brutal start to the season. And like, this isn't the previous coaching staff where you just could expect it was inevitable. At the end of the season, they were going to fall off a cliff as far as production and competing. Ari Murov has a breakdown of primetime games by team. Jets, Niners, Cowboys all got 6. 5.
Quite possibly the grossest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Chiefs, Bills, Packers, Lions, Bengals, Ravens, Eagles, Dolphins, Rams got 5.
Can't believe that the Chiefs didn't get 6. They got 5, and they've won the Super Bowl back-to-back years.
Somehow the Jets, I don't know, they pay somebody off. You got, you've got, let's see, 6 teams with 4: Texans, Steelers, Bucks, Seahawks, Falcons, Browns. 3 teams with 3. This is kind of a gross group because it's Giants and Saints.
Oh my God.
And you got the Bears and the Chargers, which I think are deserving.
Yeah.
2, Vikings, Raiders, Commanders. You got the Broncos and the Jaguars. How did they sneak 2 games in prime time? And then 1, joining your Arizona Cardinals with their, I guess you could call it primetime game. Colts, Patriots, and Titans. And the one lone team shut out from primetime games, Carolina Panthers.
But the international game kind of counts. That's on national.
It's TV. Opposite of primetime, Johnny. It's at 6 a.m. All
right, so the Cardinals are not the worst. But like these other teams, did they get a stupid ESPN Plus game or are they real games? I feel like they're probably real games. When you need an app to watch the game, that tells me that it's not, you're in a limbo. I think the Cardinals got half a primetime game. I'm going to give them 0.5 primetime games this year.
Well, Jalen Blair, he'll play ref on this. Considering ESPN split every other doubleheader between ESPN and ABC, and the Cards get ESPN Plus, we have no primetime games.
Listen, our wives are happy because our schedule is segmented on football Sundays. I wanted a Thursday night game. I wanted Monday night tailgates. I wanted Sunday night tailgates. We will have to wait at least until the team.
You get nothing.
We get nothing.
Yeah.
Listen, the first year we had PHNX Sports before Sweet Baby Bo Brack joined the beat, there were a lot of primetime games that happened, and there was a lot of losing. But I remember, here's what I will say. I got to cover the game against the Packers when the Cardinals were undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
And the environment that night when the Cardinals were, 7-0, whatever it was, 9-0. Watt had just gone down. But the environment at State Farm Stadium that night, it was packed. Majority of the people there were Cardinal fans. It was an electric atmosphere. The game was awesome. Like, we can get back to that with a hell of a lot better, I think, roster construction and coaching staff. But you just got to get some dubs. Like the Cardinals, say what you want about Cliff. They were competitive 8-8 the year before, and then they had some moxie and some mojo going. It went up in flames, and it was set ablaze, but very quickly. But like, I remember the good times. We're close. We're very close. But again, they got to put some W's on the schedule. And like Marv's got to come out and be Marv. Kyler's got to come out and be K1. If that happens, they'll get flexed real quick. If Kyler Murray's the top 10 QB fantasy and Marv's everything we hope, Trey McBride's cooking, this team's going to be on national TV. But they're dipping their toe in right now with this ESPN Plus bullshit.
Yeah. I don't know what I didn't even know about that. They've so many streaming services have entered the equation, from Netflix on Christmas. You've got Prime on Thursday. Now you got an ESPN Plus game apparently that coincides with a Monday Night Football game. It's tough to keep straight, man. It really is.
I'll tell you what's not tough to keep straight is our friends at Desert Financial. Like my head's spinning right now with some of these scheduling decisions, but I know anywhere I can get good information. My head's not spinning is with my friends at Desert Financial Credit Union, the official credit union of the Arizona Cardinals, PHNX Sports, and the Venerable household. That's because for more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and providing financial solutions that make lives better. Again, look for Desert Financial. They can hook you up. You got a checking account. They got that. Savings, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. If the Cardinals were an investment option, I would say take it, buy it right now for future primetime games. Plus, if you're an Arizona sports fan, there's no better place than to do your banking than Desert Financial Credit Union. Show your team spirit every time you make a purchase with the exclusive Red Sea Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card. I rock it. You rock it too. It's great. Check them out. DesertFinancial.com/CardinalsBow to get started. Sign up for your free checking account online. It takes a matter of minutes. Debit cards in the mail a couple days after the fact. It's Desert Financial Credit Union. Level up your financial acumen today.
Yeah, it's a safe stock to buy, the Arizona Cardinals. Not volatile. Shouldn't be as volatile as it was back in the day. Also, which is not volatile, is buying with our friends Butcher Box. It is a mail order meat, poultry, pork, seafood service that if you haven't gotten in on, what are you doing? And you got to use the promo PHNX to save yourself some money. The convenience, it's unmatched. You're going to lose a few trips to the grocery store, which we all wish we could do. And the convenience, dropping it right on your doorstep with the free shipping, always. It's tough to beat what they're doing at Butcher Box. And the meat, the beef, the seafood, it's so delicious. It's 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork raised crate-free, and wild-caught seafood, humanely raised. No antibiotics, no added hormones. You don't want all that junk. You just want delicious meat that you're going to throw on the grill, you're going to pop in the oven, and you're going to make delicious food for you and your family. Don't miss out on this any longer. Butcherbox.com/PHNX. Use the code PHNX and you'll receive some free meat plus $20 off your first box. That's right. Go to butcherbox.com/PHNX. Use the promo code PHNX for free meat and also $20 off your first box.
Fired up to welcome everybody in the chat. Drop a like on this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. But again, if you're thinking about, I don't know where to spend my money as it relates to these trips or where to travel. Again, before you do any of that, you got to level up with your gear, your merchandise, and we can hook you up with that right now by becoming a diehard at GoPHNX.com, getting a free piece of merch, and that merch can be via the 18 collection. There's our diehard breakdown that includes a free t-shirt of your choosing from the merchandise locker. And then again, on the flip side, let's check it out, Damon Dawg, the number 18 collection. Cards may not be on primetime, but we're primetime here at ALLCITY PHNX Sports. Maserati, Marv, MHJ, and the Math T go incredibly hard. So we don't care that these national networks continue to ignore our precious Redbirds. We got them covered and covered in style with the PHNX merchandise locker. Pick up your shirt or shirts. In Bo's and I's case, we've ordered the whole thing, the number 18 collection in stock and ready to go at the merchandise locker. Get it now for free if you're a diehard.
Just watching ESPN Plus. This is how you watch primetime games now. Isn't that great?
You're excited to watch Marv on your iPhone?
K1 the Marv. If I squint, I can see them throw it 60 yards to Marvin Harrison Jr. It's going to be electric. It's a new day and age. I mean, overall, your thoughts on this schedule, Johnny? What's your main takeaway?
I mean, I understand the concern from people that are of the mindset that the Cardinals could get off to a slow start. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're going to light the world on fire the first month to 6 weeks. They have an incredible challenge ahead. But I think if this team wants to prove that they can hang, you got to go find a way to go 500 in the first 10 games. If they go 500, they're going to make the playoffs. I feel very confident in that. And even if they get to 4-6, I think there's a good chance. I think they can be the Packers last year. You just can't have disaster strike. But again, like I'm of the mindset, Kyler Murray's healthy and plays. Let's look at the schedule again, Bo. They're going to take a couple of these early games. Mm-hmm. They will take a couple of these early games against maybe what people perceive as superior quarterback play. Like there's no reason Kyler Murray can't go to Miami and out-duel Tua. As bad as the Cardinal defense is at times in the back seven. Like the Chicago Bears coming to Arizona, as much as like people like what the Bears are selling, give me Arizona in that game. Give me the Jets. I absolutely will. A crippled Aaron Rodgers, 100-year-old Aaron Rodgers against Kyler Murray at State Farm Stadium. Like the toughest part of the schedule is going to be week 1, in my opinion, to week 6. Like that cannot be 1-5. You got to find a way to get a couple wins there. And if they can do that, we can breathe a little bit. We can say, okay, the season's long. We got opportunities. We got the bye coming up. But like, I do not want to sit here after October 14th, after the Packer game, and be talking about 1-6 and looking at mock drafts and telling people that we need to go look at another quarterback. Like, I want Kyler Murray to outduel Jordan Love and Brock Purdy and Jaden Daniels and Jared Goff. Like, that needs to happen. This roster is not to completion, but Kyler Murray is a top 10 quarterback and he's being paid as a top 6 quarterback. You got to win some of these games. I mean, it's like Baldy came on the show. Mina Kimes came on the show and said, this is Kyler Murray's opportunity. If he's the superior quarterback, if he's the number 1 overall pick, he's going to win some of these games for you. That's point blank.
Yeah, Mina said it's his opportunity to own this rebuild, kind of retake this Cardinals organization, make it his own. And the Arizona Cardinals, when you see this opening slate with the Bills, the Rams, the Lions, the Niners, Packers, those are all playoff teams from last year. You got Washington sandwiched in between. I don't know if you call that a shit sandwich officially, but that's what you got there in the middle with the Commanders on September 29th. But if you can win, like if you need to start to change some narratives here, and it starts really week 2. Like you can do it week 1. Like that's always fun, right? Week 1 is a little unhinged and never like the rest of the season. Some teams that have won the first game and then gone on to lose, the bulk of the rest of the games, like the Jags from a couple of years ago. But if you can get into week 2 and you can start to change the narrative that's surrounded this organization for far too long that you can't beat Sean McVay, if you can kind of start to do what the 2021 team did against LA, I know this was on the road, and beat the crap out of them in week 4 of that season, it starts to gain some momentum. And I know that Gannon doesn't believe in momentum, but people, around the organization that follow this team in the locker room could. And, if you get a Rams win, you could certainly get a win against the Commanders in week 4. And then next thing you know, at the very worst, you're 2-2 going against, the Niners and the Packers on the road. And then you start to get into a team that was picking top 5 in the Chargers, and you got the Dolphins who can be Jekyll and Hyde, and we'll see what they have defensively left, kind of bearing on that side of the football, and some big changes. They lost some guys on the offensive line, and then we'll see week 9 with the Bears. But then you get into that big time stretch. If like you said, if you're around 500, you're in really good shape going down the backside of this schedule. And
listen, like the NFC is so mid, like 8 wins could get you in the playoffs. Not 8 to 9 wins could get you a postseason ticket. Like you're telling me right now, there aren't 8 wins right there for the Arizona Cardinals. Of course they are. I see Mitchell $1.99 super chat on the bright side. No cold weather games. I agree with that, but at the same time, it's like the Cardinals won like the 2 games last year, we were like, they're not winning those games. At Philadelphia, at Pittsburgh, they won both those games. They were awesome.
Because their brand of football travels,
right?
Establishing the run, ground and pound, right, and playing real physical ball. That's conducive to playing in the elements. But I agree. I think Mitchell makes a great point. Mitchell Lund, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. And when you look at it and we talk about, oh man, it kind of stinks that they got this one, we'll call it token primetime game that's on ESPN Plus. It's going to be, at this point overshadowed by Lamar Jackson playing on the other game on the bigger network. But you're only playing on probably one short week, right? Max, right? You're going to be playing that game. As we look at the schedule, the Arizona Cardinals play the Chargers week 7, and then they go on the road. It's a long flight to South Beach, but at the same time, like, this ain't the old day. You're not taking a bus or anything like that. You should be. You got great accommodations. Like that's the biggest like stretch or where you're going to kind of take a toll on this team because of how the schedule sets up. Outside of that, you're playing Sundays. You're playing Sunday afternoons, and that should be a good spot for the Cardinals. And you're not playing anything like, we'll see what Charlotte presents, at the end of the season, but it shouldn't be anything too grueling. Sometimes they can have some gnarly weather, but the Patriots are coming to town, and then you're in LA and San Francisco is coming to play you. So like the worst potential for weather for the Cardinals is the last chance at it is week 12 against the Seahawks on November 24th.
Blaine Clark, are the Cardinals the only team in the NFL that skipped on the release video? Yeah, their graphic was tough to read for me, as you guys saw me labor through that. I think that was on purpose, though, because they didn't want people to realize they only got half a primetime game. But in all
seriousness, it was a link, wasn't it? It wasn't
and like a graphic. Didn't even expand it. Well, but like even the graphic visually was tough to read. Go look at. We post our graphic on PHNX_Cardinals. Go and check that out. Save that to your phone. It's brought to you by our friends at Game Time. But I think, and I'm just being transparent, like, the Cardinals team has gone through a lot of change with their digital media people over the course of the last couple months. So I think they're implementing some new people that a lot of people have been asking, like, where's flight plan? Like, I think that was an old regime thing. So there's just a lot of changes. So I'm going to give them grace here with the schedule release. Maybe the media department's having kind of what the team had last year. They're trying to figure some stuff out. So I'll give them some grace. But check out our graphic. It's fantastic.
Yeah, you can't beat this. What Damon and the ALLCITY crew were able to put together on the fly as the schedule was released at the top of this hour. And great work by the award-winning producer, old Damon Dawg. Love to see it. But the Cardinals schedule officially out. This holiday is you've opened all the presents, and now you're trying to figure out what to do with the rest of your day.
So we got how many? Let's go back. Do we have our original shit graphic? Is that gone now? Do we delete that? Damon probably scrubbed that from the universe. Do you remember? How close did we get to predicting the schedule? Can we get the schedule back up one more time? We got pretty close here. You'd said Niners week 5, so I'm going to give you credit for that. So I think the only games that we didn't have locked in, if I'm looking back at our text message engagements here, we didn't have week 7 firmed up. So we didn't have the Chargers. We didn't have week 9 with Chicago, or maybe we did. And then we had the bye at week 11. So we were like 1 or 2 games off, I feel like, before the show started. I feel pretty good about that. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, it's not having the full schedule like we did a half hour before like we did last season, but pretty accurate. Pretty good hit percentage here at PHNX Cardinals.
I'm proud of this group, and I'm proud of the merch that we got right now at the merchandise locker, the 18 collection. But I mean, we're going to pick it tomorrow. We're going to go through it game by game, win by win or loss on this program. Myself, Bo Brack, Damon, Dawg, we're going to give our official predictions as it relates to how many wins will the Arizona Cardinals have as a team in 2024. I feel good about it. There's nothing about this schedule, Bo, and I'll end it on this, that makes me feel like they can't make the playoffs. That schedule, even with the loaded front half of it, that's a team that can get to the postseason as a wild card team easily, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're just going to have to perform against some big boy football teams early on, and they're going to have to show and play kind of above what national analysts, pundits are going to say that they can't do, right? They're going to see the Rams and, how the Rams were predicted to be where the Cardinals ended up last year in the bottom half of the league or bottom tier of the league. The Cardinals, they're not going to give them a chance probably week 2 at home against Los Angeles, depending on how their season opener goes. But the Cardinals they're going to come out of the gates and they're going to take some big time shots early on and then have an opportunity to kind of rebound from that and kind of take their revamped roster against some teams that are kind of more in their weight class the rest of the way, if not below that.
Yeah. You hope some of these rookie quarterbacks hit a rookie wall. We never hit a wall here at PHNX Sports, PHNX Cardinals. A lot of fun today. Thanks to everybody sending in super chats, everybody that's picking up the merch from the merchandise locker, the 18 collection. Again, we are back throughout the course of this week, breaking it down. Jack Smith saying Saints, Colts, Broncos preseason. Broncos are like ingratiated. Saints and Colts are interesting. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe joint practices with the Indianapolis Colts, who Jonathan Gannon has a really good reputation with. So we'll see if that happens.
He said that it's an AFC team, so that's in line with what he said before. Just mentioning that he couldn't confirm it. He didn't want to say it until it was 100% confirmed. So looking at that, the preseason schedule, first week is at home against the Saints. It's going to be either between August 8th and 11th. And then Colts on the road, August 15th through 18th at Lucas Oil Stadium. And then wrapping up. This was opposite from when I was here. I thought the Cardinals were going to have 2 preseason games at home. It's 2 games on the road.
Okay.
They finish up on the road against the Broncos at Mile High Stadium.
A lot of good stuff coming down the pipeline. A lot of opportunities for your boys to see you out. Some tailgates in the merch. Hopefully in some number 18 jerseys when they become available. This podcast is available on demand for download wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out, PHNX_Cardinals on Twitter. Go drop your official prediction underneath our social post. In the meantime, like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. Getting this video to 500 likes here on a football schedule release Wednesday. It's been fun. Subscribe here to the podcast for Damon, Dawg. Fantastic job behind the scenes. My co-host, Brack. I'm Johnny Venerable. We're back on a Thursday. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.